My name is Kim Danke. I am your Fast Track instructor, and what we are going to be doing tonight is we're going to be doing a lifestyle overview. And I like to call this the very first lesson that you have, the lifestyle overview, because what I'm trying to do, yay Renee, what I'm trying to do is I am trying to give you like an umbrella look. You know, there's an umbrella look, and then there's little pieces and parts. So tonight, and let me even call it this, we're building a framework. We're building that framework of knowledge, and then as you continue to learn, you will be putting more information into your framework, and you will have a stronger and stronger framework, okay? So it does take that listening and learning and a little bit of practice, a little bit of effort, but it will be absolutely amazing once you have this lifestyle down, no problem at all. You're gonna love it. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna share my screen with you. I know a lot of people like to, they will do screenshots of things that they think they might not have access to later. And I just want to let you know you will have access to this later. In fact, you can find it in two different places. If you are in the Shibboleth new member Fast Track group on Facebook, it will come out in a post at 9:15 tonight, so you'll have access to it there. It's also in the files in that group. If you don't have Facebook and you have our website, which everybody is a member has the website, underneath the 1 hour Fast Track video in the video library, there are some materials with links, and this is also one of those links. So there's no need to take screenshots or anything like that. I would really, if you're going to do anything, I'd rather you take notes, but don't really worry about screenshots. You will have access to this later. So this is a lifestyle. You are never going to hear me say diet, because I have never been a dieter. I am always been interested in health and wellness, and I've watched people diet, and diets don't stick around. I do know that in the general sense of the word, everything that you put in your mouth is basically your diet, but we're not dieting in that traditional sense. What we are learning to do is we are learning to eat properly so that we can live this for the rest of our life. It is the nutrition education we just never received in school. Hey, Deidre on Facebook. Deidre called me tonight and has lost 10 pounds. Let's give Deidre some claps. That is awesome. She heard me do a little tune clapping earlier. I love it. All right, so we're going to go ahead and we're going to learn the basics tonight. What I like to do in this class is I like to teach you the terminology that you're going to be using, because there's certain terms that we use that maybe you haven't used before in talking about food and things like that. So it's sort of like learning a new little language, but it's not a hard language to learn. It's not like learning a new foreign language. This is just basic, easy. But if you've never heard the term and know what it is that we call it, how are you going to know? So I'm here to tell you that tonight, but it's not hard either, okay? So there are two modes in Shibboleth. So when you go into your profile and you set your mode, you're either going to set your mode for weight loss mode or maintenance mode. If you're just now getting started, most often people start off in weight loss mode. I do want you to know that you don't have to start off in weight loss mode if you're not here to lose any burn fat. If you're here to correct a health problem, but you don't really have any fat to burn, you may start off in weight loss mode. Maintenance. But most people do start off in weight loss mode, and then once you hit your victory goal, you can move into maintenance, okay? There are three differences between weight loss and maintenance. One of those differences is the number of holidays that you can use in a calendar month. Two is simply how you eat fruit. And three is your mindset. So I'll talk about the holidays and I'll talk about the fruit in a second, but I'm going to go ahead and hit the mindset now. By the time that you get from weight loss to maintenance, your mindset needs to be that, oh my goodness, this is a lifestyle. I understand what a lifestyle is, and I'm going to be doing this for the rest of my life, and I'm going to have success because I have completely and fully adopted this as my lifestyle. So on Planet Shibboleth, so you're now a citizen of Planet Shibboleth. On Planet Shibboleth, you have two types of days. Two. It's a perfect day or a holiday. A perfect day is a day that we are meeting every single component of what we call the Shibboleth shield. But a holiday is some day where you aren't meeting some component of the shield. It could be as simple as you didn't get your water in for that day. It could be that you didn't combine the foods in the right way, that type of thing. So it's just that simple. If you have joined as a lifetime Tiger's Eye member, you are going to see a lot more days in your journal to mark than just the two words of perfect and holiday. You're going to see a whole bunch. But what I don't want you to do at this time is get overwhelmed by that. I only want you to focus on the two types of days, a perfect day or a holiday. And what you keep in mind about those other days is that you can advance into those, and you have upward mobility in learning how to do this and ways to make your health and wellness even better. But in the beginning, we really just need to focus on a perfect day or a holiday. How many holidays are allowed? When you are in weight loss mode, up to 6 holidays can be used in a calendar month. Once you get to maintenance, you can use up to 12 holidays in a calendar month if you choose to. Now know that in either one of these scenarios, you don't have to use all of those holidays. It's not a requirement that you use the holiday. It's just that they are available. So you can use up to 6 in weight loss, and up to 12 in maintenance. And you might be thinking, wow, how can I do that and still achieve or maintain the success that I achieved getting to maintenance? What the secret is on that is you must have truly perfect days on the other 18 to 19 days, depending on how many days are in a calendar month. Because if you turn your perfect days turn into okay days, that's where we start to develop a problem going back up. Okay, so it's the other days need to be truly perfect days. But when I talk tonight, and when I talk all about this week in my little posts and videos and things like that, we're going to be talking about weight loss mode. So I'm only going to mention up to 6 holidays in a calendar month. So how do you have a perfect day? You simply follow the Shibboleth shield. Now, the word Shibboleth is a Hebrew word. It's actually pronounced Shibboleth. It is from the book of Judges, and in that time, it was a password, and we truly believe that we have cracked the code on adult and childhood obesity, and we have the secret to it. So a password should be a secret, so that's why we've called it that. If you are in the Shibboleth New Member Fast Track group, I really want you to watch a video about the origins of Shibboleth. It's Travis, our founder. He's talking about how they came up with that name and why, and I do believe it's important for you to watch. So how to have a perfect day, you follow the Shibboleth shield. So there's 5 components to that. I simply call these our daily disciplines. So if you want to think about it in that way, you can consider this a discipline, and you are starting to incorporate these daily disciplines into your life. Number 1 is water. Number 2 is journaling what you eat. Number 3 is combinations. I also like to expand a little bit on that and say eating in a way that controls insulin. Number 4 is portions. And number 5 is timing. So these are the daily disciplines that we start to incorporate into our life so that we can improve it and be on a better trajectory. So after 2, listen, you're turning your life around in just 2 days. After 2 perfect Shibboleth days, you get your body into a state called EFB. EFB, efficient fat burning. And see, there's a lot to weight loss, but see, we don't want to just lose random weight. What we want to do is we want to hone in on stored energy, which is fat. And that's what you can do when your body is in efficient fat burning. We're going to learn a little bit more on another slide about efficient fat burning, but just know that that is the way that you focus in on stored energy, which is fat, and burn it while still maintaining your muscles, your heart mass, your ligaments, your tendons, maintaining all of that. So we want to get to the root problem, the stored energy. Component number one of the Shibboleth Shield is water. We have got to drink our water. You want to get in a minimum of a half a gallon, which is 64 ounces, but you're really shooting for a gallon, which is 128 ounces. So if you are working on getting that gallon in, you are, one, more mentally satisfied, you're busy, and you're more physically satisfied. Okay, so it's a good thing to get your water in. And point number three on here, a dehydrated body will not efficiently give up fat or waste, and we want both of those things to be going on as we are living this lifestyle. You will have some water normalization during the first week, which is really great because you do get a lot of water weight off that needed to come out that wasn't being flushed out properly. And it also takes up space and weighs something. So we have a lot of that going on in the first week, which is excellent. I could not fit into a pair of pants before I started Shibboleth. After 1 week and losing 9 pounds in my first week on Shibboleth, I was fitting into the pair of pants I wasn't in the week before. So you're going to feel great in just a week's time. I truly believe that you can lose 7 pounds in 7 days if you go ahead and get started. Component number two of the shield is to journal. We absolutely have to write down everything that goes in our mouth. The reason this is so important, this is the behavior modification part. This is us making a commitment to modify the behavior that was not working for us previously. So we have to journal daily. If you bite it, you write it. If you nibble it, you scribble it. If you drink it, you ink it. And if you hog it, you log it, okay? So we have to write down absolutely everything that we eat. It's very important. There are no idle bites on Planet Shibboleth. And if you are being honest and true in your journal, and then you submit for a journal review, if you hit a spot, maybe you weren't losing what you thought you should, then you can submit for a journal review. We'll have a look at that. But we cannot give you honest feedback if you haven't been putting absolutely everything in there. And you'll feel much better being honest, because if you're not being honest, you're not being honest with yourself, and that's who you're hurting, and we don't want to hurt ourselves. So make sure that you write down everything that you eat. I also love journaling because it does create your future meal plans. So everything that you journal remains and is accessible to you in the website. So once this is in the website, you can access that at any time. You can print them out, you can look at them, you can 3-hole punch them, you can have them for future meals. And this is a really great way to keep track of your variety and always keep a nice rotation of your meals. Component number 3 of the shield is combinations. We're going to eat properly combined meals. We eat in a way that controls insulin, aka the fat bus. Okay, we're not being derogatory or mean or anything when we say the fat bus, but the fat bus will come around and pick up fat lipids that are in your body if they are also in your system at the same time as insulin. So we're going to control that insulin. All right, so properly combined meals keep away the fat bus. The very first time I went to a luncheon after learning this information, they had all the little trays, and I said in my head, fat bus, fat bus, fat bus. Oh, I can have that. So it was funny how I associated that. So component number 4 of the shield is portions. Now, most people automatically think I need to eat less when they are going to change their eating habits or trying to burn fat. They know they need to eat less, and it is important. It's very important. But we combine that with the insulin control, and we supercharge the results, okay? So I like the way that we do our portions because we don't focus on calories. We don't focus, you may hear about calories in certain ways and certain things, but just getting started, you don't need to worry about that. We don't focus on calories, weighing food, measuring food, or anything. All we have to do is put it in the right combination on our plate. That's a smaller plate, like a 6 to 8 inch plate. And if it's an 8-inch plate, we're not talking the 2-inch rim. We're talking about the inner part of it. But no matter what size plate that you have, you're going to use the 2-hand rule, okay? You're going to put your fingers as close together as possible, And you're going to move those thumbs out of the way where you cannot see them. You are going to put your hands together as close as possible. And then you are going to lower your hands down over your food. And then you're going to look. If you can't see your food sticking out around your hands, then you've portion controlled. It's that simple. You're going to have a properly combined meal underneath your hands. This is a really great way to make sure that we aren't eating more than what our stomach can hold. You know, our stomachs have gotten stretched out. And so we've got to, thankfully, the Lord has designed us in a way that our stomachs can shrink back down if we are doing the right things. So we're just going to use the 2-hand rule for our portions. Component number 5 of the shield is timing. What I want you to know about this is, this one is not, the timing part is not mandatory, meaning if you don't hit this one just right, you still can count having a perfect day. And here's why. You're living a different lifestyle than me. You have a different work schedule than me. You have different children's schedules than me, and all of that. Than anybody who's helping you learn it. Everybody's lives are different. So what we do in the timing component is we teach you how to optimize your results with the timing. Okay, so let's quickly go over the 4 components that you have to have, and y'all can be saying this with me in your head. Water, you got to drink your water. You have to write down your foods, eat in a way that controls insulin, and portion control. Those have to be hit in a certain day to say that you've had a perfect day. Timing is for optimization. So, and what I like to go over in the timing is also what foods you can have, what kind of meals or eating episodes. Travis is calling them eating episodes now. So if you hear that, that's what we're talking about. So you can do up to 3 meals a day. And if you do really 3 meals a day, that's best. Okay, that's best. But there's still ways to have perfect days with best, and then little bit lower, better, and then good, you know, so I actually did that in reverse, but 3 eating episodes would be best. You do want to have them 4 to 6 hours apart. What you're trying to do is give your body the opportunity to start digesting the food that you ate at breakfast before you put more food in at lunch, and then same thing before you put more food in at dinner. So you want to give your body an opportunity to start digesting this food. Our bodies are overworked in the digestive area, and a machine, which our body is a very wonderful machine, but machines that are overworked and never get a break will eventually break down. So if you have digestive issues and other issues and problems in your health with your gut, give it a break from digesting, and that will also help with those. So 4 to 6 hours apart is optimal. But if you don't hit that, it's still going to be a perfect day. So let's say that you ate at 8 a.m., then you ate at noon, that's 4 hours, then maybe you ate at 6, that's 6 hours. That's very reasonable, that's great timing, okay? But let's say for some reason you ate at 8, but then you ate again at 10 for some reason, and that's 2 hours, but then you ate later at 6. You know, that's not necessarily 4 to 6 hours. That's no big deal. Or let's say that you get home late from work and you have to eat a little bit closer to bedtime. It'll all work out as long as the other 4 components have been hit properly, okay? So just keep that in mind. Now, in moments of what we call mental weakness, because a lot of this is a little lack of self-control, a little lack of having a really strong self-discipline muscle, I have found that I'm not a big exerciser. I lost 50 pounds last year, and people ask me if I exercise to do it, but I didn't. I'm not proud of that because I know my body needs and deserves exercise, but I'm not a big exerciser, okay? But I have exercised my self-discipline muscle and made it strong. So if that's the one we need to start working on first, then that's what we do. But in moments of mental weakness, we can utilize things called freebies, an extra, and a snack. So those are other items. But look at this little last bullet point on here. Keep in mind that we are trying to stop grazing. Grazing is actually harming us. Cows graze. We aren't cows. Cows have more than one stomach. We only have one. We do not need to be grazing. The Lord designed cows to graze. He did not design us to graze. So let's think about this. If we have 3 meals in a day, which is good and reasonable, But then we add in freebies, and then we add in an extra, and then we add in a snack. Do you know what that looks like? It looks like grazing, okay? But these are, I want you to know what all you can use in those moments, because what I'd rather you do is use an approved item for a freebie, or use an approved item for an extra, use an approved item for a snack, than throwing your hands up in the air and giving up, because there are so many awesome things in the freebie, extra, and snack world with Shibboleth that you can have yummy things and great success and not give up a perfect day by utilizing one of these things. All right. But what I really want you to do is strengthen that self-discipline muscle more than anything. And in weight loss, people do ask me, in weight loss, I did just eat 3 meals a day. And that's what I did. That was what I was determined to do. But then I came along July 4th and I added in, because I wanted to have a holiday, but I didn't really want a holiday. So on that day, I had an extra and a snack. And when you've been doing 3 meals and then you throw in an extra and a snack, it feels like a holiday, but it wasn't. And I did not come out and be efficient fat burning when I did that. So now we've gone over the 5 components of the shield. So that's our little framework. But you know what you're going to learn in Shibboleth? Because really, Shibboleth is a nutrition education that is ongoing. It's absolutely amazing. You're going to learn more about water and why it's important. You're going to learn more about journaling and why it's important. You're going to learn more about combinations. You're going to learn more about why we portion control and why we time out our foods. So tonight, I'm just telling you what you need to do to get started. I'm hoping that I'm giving you some very concrete things to follow this week to get started. But over your lifetime living with us in this Shibboleth lifestyle, you're going to add to that framework of knowledge that we are building tonight about each one of those daily disciplines. So one of the big questions is, how do I put together a properly combined meal? So I'm going to go over this briefly right now, but tomorrow night's video, I need everybody to sign up for tomorrow night's video, because one of the things that I notice is a lot of people sign up for this video, but there's part 2 tomorrow that is ultra important. So if you haven't signed up, I need you to go to the pink tab in your account called the online webinars. I need you to register there for tomorrow nights if you haven't done that. But how to put together a properly combined meal. So in this, what we're going to do is we're going to talk about the terms that we call things. So we have 7 categories of food. Categories have turned into, categories, the foods that we're going to eat, they go into each category based on how that food responds in your body and what its nutritional value is. So that's how all foods make their ways into these 7 categories. So we're going to hit these, and I'm going to talk about their abbreviation and what their long word name is. So category 1 is a lean protein. You may also see the abbreviation LP. That's a lean protein. Number 2 is a fibrous carb, FC. Number 3 is an energy carb, EC. Number 4 is a protein plus fat, PF. Number 5 is fruit, or FR, also known as an antioxidant carb, or an AC. So don't let that confuse you. We typically just say fruit, but every once in a while on some document, I would say antioxidant carb. And so I'm putting it there to give you that little heads up if you see that. Number 6 is superfood, or SF. Number 7 is shellfish, or SHF. And look right here in parentheses, which is really just a lean protein. So now that we've kind of gone over that, let's look at number 1 and number 7. It's kind of like the bookends of the categories. They're both lean proteins, but shellfish was pulled out of the lean protein category due to biblical reasons and medical reasons. Some people don't want to eat that, and so we just pull that out of there. So you don't have to eat shellfish if you don't want to. So, and actually on Planet Shibboleth, you don't have to eat anything you don't like. That was a blessing to me, man. So you don't have to eat anything you don't like on Planet Shibboleth. But what you do is just mark it off. But if you don't eat shellfish, you don't have to even concern yourself with category 7, all right? But let me talk about what things are sort of in these. Your lean protein, that's where you're going to find your egg whites, chicken breast, turkey breast, 96% lean ground meat. Fibrous carbs are where you're going to find broccoli, green beans, asparagus, cauliflower, leafy greens, things like that. But guess what's in category 2? Bread. Okay, so I know that might sound funny, but there are certain breads. We have over 60 approved bread or bread type items in this fibrous carb category, and that is a hallelujah moment for most people, okay? Energy carbs, this is where your corn is, all of your potatoes, most of your lighter colored beans, all of your peas. They're in energy carbs. Protein plus fat, this is where whole eggs are, your 93 to 95.9% lean ground meat, and all cuts of steak are there, pork chops, full fat cottage cheese, that kind of thing. Fruit is fruit. Superfoods, that's where you're going to find foods that have all 4 macronutrients. Now, if you've studied nutrition before, you may be thinking there's not 4 macronutrients, but on planet Shibboleth, we call water a macronutrient. And in fact, it is the most important one. And it's a 0-calorie macronutrient. But superfoods have water in them. They've got protein, they've got fat, and they have carbs in them. So a superfood has all 4 macronutrients in there. And if you happen to be taking notes tonight, please write that down, because I will ask that tomorrow night when we have our webinar tomorrow night. So in superfoods, this is where you're going to find all of your darker colored beans, your avocados, nuts and seeds, and your nut butters, things like that. And shellfish is where you're going to find anything that lives in the ocean that's not a fish. Because we put fish up here in category 1, lean protein. Shellfish is anything that lives in the ocean or the lake or the river that that's not fish. The reason I make that distinction is because this says shellfish, but octopus does not have shell, but we still put that in category 7. So y'all give me some hearts or some thumbs up if this makes sense to you, that we have 7 categories of food. They all have an abbreviation that we use, and they all have a long name that we use. Okay, good. Thank you, Sonia. Good. Okay, so now this is just a simple combination chart. We have good. This blue one is good. Okay, awesome, Brianna. Awesome, Samsung. So this is a good way to lose weight or burn fat, this blue column. The yellow column is a better way to access and burn stored energy, which is fat. The red column is blowtorch column. You're going to be blowtorching fat like you'd blowtorch butter in this yellow column. So let's have a look at this. Do you see where that says 1 LP? That does not mean the quantity of 1. It doesn't mean you're eating 1 LP. I mean, you typically are eating 1 chicken breast, but what that is it's the category number and the abbreviation together. So it's just saying that this is a category 1 lean protein. So this is a good opportunity to tell you that of these 7 categories, and this is important to write down, of these 7 categories, 5 of them don't even have to be combined. They can just be eaten all by themselves. So you can eat lean protein by itself, you can eat fibrous carbs by themselves, you can eat protein plus fat by itself, you can eat superfood by itself, and you can eat shellfish by itself, okay? So the 2 that you are not going to eat by themselves are 3s, your energy carbs, or 5, your fruit, okay? They must be combined properly. Yes. So you can eat, out of these 7 categories, I'm going to make it real simple, but I'll say it all. You cannot eat category 3 energy carbs or category 5 fruit by themselves. They bring more of an insulin release that you need to have combined with other things to control that. So you cannot eat 3s or 5s by themselves. Okay, so do you have that, Brianna? You cannot eat 3s or 5s by themselves. The 5 that you can eat by themselves: a lean protein, a fibrous carb, a protein plus fat, superfood, and shellfish. Awesome. Good. Yeah, so there's 5 that you can eat by themselves. There's 2 you cannot eat by themselves. All right. And when we're looking at these, this little chart here, red's best, and then you kind of go down, and they're all good for fat burning, but we have to teach you good, better, and best, okay? Because not every single meal is going to be good, better, and best, but if you have 3 meals in a day that are all from the blowtorch column, you're really going to be doing great. But you might have 1 or 2 from here and 1 from here. It's life. You are eating. We have to teach you how to eat in all nutritional situations, all right? Okay, so what this is showing you, this next one, is that you're having a lean protein cooked in MCT oil, which we're going to hit in just a minute. MCT oil is very important. And by the way, what we are talking about right now, eating in a way that controls insulin, secret alert, okay? This is one of the secrets to achieving your fat loss goals. Now, this third line right here is just showing you that you can have a lean protein and a fibrous carb together. That might look like chicken breast and broccoli. And I just keep it real simple tonight, all right? This next row, you're eating chicken breast and broccoli cooked in MCT. This one right here, 7, shellfish. Maybe you're just eating some shrimp. This next one, maybe you're having shrimp cooked in MCT. This next one, maybe you're having shrimp and broccoli. This next one, maybe you're having shrimp and broccoli cooked in MCT. So that's just sort of basic, but anywhere that this LP is for lean protein, any lean protein that is in our list works for that. And there's going to be a lot. So what your job is sort of this week and everything is to start to develop your own favorites, your list of favorites, which is really, really important. This list over here, this is showing you that you can eat a protein plus fat by itself. So what that means to you is if you wake up in the morning and all you've got is whole eggs in the fridge and you're thinking, I'm just going to eat some eggs, you can. Totally fine. You can have scrambled eggs all by themselves or fried eggs cooked in 0-calorie cooking spray. You can also have a protein plus fat with a fibrous carb. So let's say you have a piece of steak with some broccoli. You can also have superfood by itself. So let's just say that you have 2 tablespoons of peanut butter as a meal by itself. Let's say that right here on this superfood, maybe you take some black beans and you cook them up in some MCT oil. You can do that. Maybe on this next one, you take some superfood, which maybe you take some beans that you like, maybe some pinto beans, and you have some collard greens. Now, I don't eat that. I'm just giving that as an example, but if you like it, you can. But guess what else this 6 and this 2 is? Peanut butter and jelly. Actually, I have to talk about a condiment tomorrow night. I don't talk about condiments tonight. Y'all have to come back tomorrow night for condiment talk. But category 6 superfood would be your peanut butter. Category 2 would be your bread, your approved category 2 fibrous carb bread, and some jelly would be a condiment. That's a peanut butter and jelly sandwich right there. It's a 6 and a 2. This one, they have a 6 and a 2. They just forgot to put the little abbreviation behind it, and then MCT. Now this MR stands for meal replacement. You can do meal replacements too. So what we teach you a lot about is whole foods and how to eat whole foods together in a way that control insulin, but there are a lot of great meal replacements for weight loss. And so you can have meal replacements too. Now there are meal replacements that are better than others for that. And in the Shibboleth new member fast track group, marked as an announcement at the top of that group, I've got my 10 favorites there. And you might want to have a look at those. And then in this blue category, what you see over here is, do you see how there's more listed? That's just giving you more flavors on your plate, but it's also still got to be portion controlled, all right? So it's more flavors on your plate, but it's got to be portion controlled. So I want to explain now a little bit of science. I am going to wow you, I think, because I was completely wowed with this. We're going to talk about how and why you do certain things. So earlier, you heard me say that you do not eat 3s, energy carbs, by themselves. But you know what? You still might want to have some corn, okay? You might like corn. You want to eat corn. You're thinking, how can I eat corn? I'm not supposed to eat it by itself, but I can still eat it. So we don't really worry about measurements, but I'm trying to give you some ideas, some visuals. About 1/4 of a cup of corn. And you use your hand. Your corn's going to sit about right there because, you know, you're portion controlling. You're going to lay your hand down over your food. You also don't want your food to be any thicker than the thickest part of your hand, okay? So that's just saying you're not piling up your plate and saying, I can't see it, all right? But corn, about right there. So you want to eat some corn. You need to write these things down. You must eat it with a lean protein and a fibrous carb. So now what that means to you is when I say lean protein, it can come from category 1 or category 7 because those are both lean proteins. So you must eat it with a lean protein and a fibrous carb. So that's a must and an and. So if you want to eat a category 3 by itself, which is an energy carb, it must be eaten with a lean protein and a fibrous carb. So for example, you want the corn. Then you think, okay, I'm going to have that with chicken breast and green beans. That's a classic meal right there, and it's fine. You just want to make sure that you've portion controlled it and you've put that all together, okay? And we're going to go over tomorrow night how you might want to cook that chicken breast, okay? So come back tomorrow night because tomorrow night's really important. So you got to come back. Let's say that you want to eat some fruit. Berries are best if you like berries. Berries are best for weight loss. They have the lowest glycemic impact on your body. So let's say that you want to have some berries. You actually can have about a half a cup of berries. So you have some berries, but you must eat those berries with a lean protein and a fibrous carb. So let's just say that maybe you have an egg white, which is your lean protein, spinach, which is your fibrous carb, omelet. So maybe you have an egg white spinach omelet and some berries. That would be a properly combined meal, and you could do that. Now, so I'm going over that and giving you those examples, but I'm going to describe to you now what's happening in your body. Let's talk about that corn. You're going to eat this corn. Corn is going to bring more of an insulin release. Let me just step back for a second. Everything that you eat brings a little bit of an insulin release, but not enough to affect you in a bad way, okay? So, but corn does bring more of an insulin release. Anything in the energy carb and fruit brings more of an insulin release. So with that being said, us wanting to neutralize and control insulin, we've got to put something in our body to help do that. Because what happens is that corn spikes our blood sugar. Blood sugar spike comes from the corn. Insulin comes out to regulate the blood sugar. But what insulin does, insulin is a hormone, which I had no idea that it was a hormone. Insulin is a hormone, and it comes out for the purpose of regulating blood sugar, but it's like a really distracted hormone. If fat is in your body at that same time, it's going to collect that fat. Yeah, we don't want it to do that. So we've got to eat in a way that controls that insulin. So insulin comes out, and we're going to eat the chicken breast that I said, the protein that's in that chicken breast, and then the fiber that's in those green beans are going to help neutralize that insulin release that came from the corn. So basically, this food is being our medicine for us, which is good. But if you also think about that, that meal doesn't have any fat in it. There is no fat in lean protein, fibrous carbs, or corn. So corn doesn't have fat in it. It causes a problem if you eat it with foods that have fat in it. All right. So there wasn't any real fat in that meal, but you got to eat in a way that controls insulin, because later on in the day, you may have something that has fat in it. And if insulin's running around, we're going to have fat storage rather than fat burning. So we want to combine. Who is wowed right now? Because I am totally wowed. Oh my goodness. Hey, Michelle, I see Michelle on Facebook. I totally love that you're watching it. That's awesome. Okay, so now let's talk about that fruit. Same thing with that fruit. And y'all let me know if you're wowed, because I really love that. I love this scientific part of it. I have a master's degree in education. I used to be a school teacher and a principal, so I love this science part of this. So the fruit that you eat is going to bring a little bit of an insulin release that has to be dealt with, because you spiked your blood sugar. Now with berries, not as bad, okay? But you spiked your blood sugar, and then, but you chose, now that you know this, you chose to have it with a egg white spinach omelet. you're letting that food do its job and be the medicine that's going to neutralize that insulin release. So if you do eat something fattier later in the day, it's not going to get stored, which is awesome. Thank you, Laura, for saying that's cool. Thank you. All right, so then we're going to talk about one more. So I told you how to eat the energy carbs in the fruit. They must be eaten with a lean protein and a fibrous carb. This is something important to write down. We got to talk about the protein plus fat. Now, I teach the other one in a way that tells you what to eat with it. This one, I'm going to teach in the reverse way. You need to know what not to eat with a protein plus fat. So if you want to eat a category 4, protein plus fat, you're not going to eat it with your 3s, which are your energy carbs, 5s, which are your fruit, or 6s, which are your superfoods. You're not going to eat them with those categories. Reason being, those categories bring more of an insulin release. And based on what I just explained, protein plus fat in it has fat in it, okay? So if there's fat in your system, at the same time that an insulin release is coming out, we have fat storage. So we don't eat fat, protein plus fat with those 3 categories. Let's talk about, okay, I love it, Brianna, thank you. So if you want to eat a category 4, protein plus fat, I teach this in a way, I tell you what not to eat it with. You do not eat it with 3s, which are your energy carbs, 5s, which is your fruit, and 6, which is your superfoods. Now, what that does tell you is that you can eat it with a fibrous carb. You actually can have surf and turf. So maybe you have steak and lobster. Maybe you want to have some steak and chicken. You could do that too. Now, it's still all lean protein sources, so that doesn't mean you're filling up both hands with all that. That would still be a protein source under one hand. Your protein source doesn't really need to be more than one hand, okay? Did that help, Brianna? So let's talk about what a classic plate is. Classic plate, steak and a baked potato. Steaks are good. Steaks are approved, and all cuts of steak are approved. Now, when you eat a steak, it's got more fat in it, so there's going to be fat lipids that are running around in your body. Do you know that that's not a problem? Our body actually needs fat for certain functions, and it's going to get used up in that way for those functions. But we also need to make sure that those fat lipids get used up as energy rather than getting stored. So let's say that you eat a potato with the steak. First of all, most potatoes that people eat aren't even reasonably sized. They're huge. So you have this massive blood sugar spike, and then you've got doses of insulin that come out to regulate that blood sugar. But remember, I said that insulin is a distracted hormone. It's like squirrel, I see fat. Fat bus is coming now. They're going to go pick up that fat, and it's going to take it to its destination, which most people on these webinars tell me that is butt and gut, okay? It's going to take it to its destination, but it could also be right here. It could also be right here. You know, it's storing that. But never fear, we have a way to eat steak and not store it. We just don't eat it with things that spike insulin. You just don't put a protein plus fat with things that spike your blood sugar, where an insulin release has to come out and deal with it. So now you might want to eat steak and broccoli. And I'm just going to tell you, Longhorn's broccoli is better than their baked potatoes. I go to Guston's, their broccoli is great. Chili's broccoli is great. I mean, I've had broccoli all over the place now. So, and most of the time, they're absolutely delicious. So let's talk about your new classic plate of steak and broccoli. And if you don't like broccoli, make up your own in your head right now, but you still use the example. You're going to eat the steak. The steak, fat lipids running around in your body. You did not eat a potato. You did not have an insulin spike. You ate broccoli, okay? There's nothing in there to store the fat that was in the steak, so you still had an excellent fat burning day. It's wonderful, okay? So we're just not going to put those together. Now, like I said, tomorrow night, We're going to start going over what's in different categories, food-wise and everything. So just make sure that you come back tomorrow night too. And we're going to start moving along because I got a lot left to do. Recap. Oh, and I hadn't even said this yet, but look at point number 1 here. A category 1 lean protein with a category 2 fibrous carb, let's just say chicken breast and broccoli, cooked in MCT oil, or category 7 and category 2, let's say shrimp and broccoli, cooked in MCT oil, are the fastest fat burning combinations. So a lean protein and a fibrous carb with the addition of the MCT is the fastest fat burning combination. If you want to eat a 3 or a 5, you must eat it with a 1 or 7, because they're both lean proteins, and a category 2. And then if you want to eat a category 4 protein plus fat, just do not have it with your energy carbs, fruit, or superfoods. And look at point number 4 down here. All meat at a restaurant must, yes, Sharon, it is a little over, it is normal to be overwhelmed at first. What you want to do, and I'm going to show y'all a worksheet. I have come up with a new member worksheet. I'm going to show that in just a minute. And I think that'll help you guys, because all you have to do is come up with your favorite foods, and then just kind of pick one thing from one column and category, and then pick one from the other and just eat it. And you might be real simple in the beginning, but that's okay. And what I ate for the first 20 days is in the Shaboleth new member fast track group. It is not a magical meal plan. All it is me being transparent with what I ate, to show y'all. I probably ate 30 Mighty Muffins in 20 days because that's a meal replacement. I knew I liked it. I also knew that it kept me full and it tasted good. And it was keeping me in EFB while I was still learning all this. So really it's all about us customizing everything for you. And I'll show you that worksheet in a little bit. But all meat at a restaurant must be considered a category 4. Let me explain why. If you order a piece of chicken at a restaurant, which chicken is a lean protein, but you don't know what oil they cooked it in, they probably cooked it in an unapproved oil. We can just about guarantee you they cooked it in an unapproved oil. So you need to call that a protein plus fat so that you make sure that you don't order any energy carbs, fruit, or superfoods with that, right? Okay. This is an important slide. Approved cooking oils. So our most recommended and highly suggested oil is 100% MCT oil. MCT stands for medium chain triglyceride. And medium chain triglycerides burn up like this. They burn up like that. They have almost no propensity to be stored on the body as fat. That is a good thing. Okay, now conversely, what we were probably using before Shaboleth was a long chain triglyceride. They have a great propensity to be stored on the body as fat because it is a longer chain, takes a longer time to burn up, and it's actually a very thick, tight chain, and it's just harder to burn up. And let me just tell you what those are. Canola oil, vegetable oil, olive oil, all the other oils are long chain triglycerides. So I can't say all because I haven't studied all the ones. Most, let's just put it that way. But all the ones that most people are using are long chain triglycerides, and they're very easily accessible sources of energy. They will not help you burn any fat at all. In fact, it will store fat. Now, a lot of people ask me, what about olive oil? I thought it was good for you. Well, see, the thing is, we are in the nutritional situation of wanting to access and burn stored fat. So if we are in that nutritional situation, we don't want to use olive oil. Once you get to maintenance, if you choose to use olive oil every once in a while for its health purposes, you can. But that's in a different nutritional situation. So we're focused on fat loss, and that's not going to help you with it at all. But olive oil also changes properties once it's cooked too. So we're just not going to do that right now. We're going to do MCT oil. MCT oil, you can be bought anywhere at stores and things like that, but I like for you to buy ours. You don't have to buy anything from our store, but this is the best one, I'm telling you, because it has 100 calories per tablespoon, where every other MCT oil I've seen out there has 130 calories per tablespoon. I don't want an extra random 30 calories, okay? We also know that it has been optimized for cooking, and that's how we're going to use it. So let me explain to you how you're going to use this MCT oil, because there's a lot of noise about MCT oil right there. A lot of people are trying to make some big bucks selling MCT oil and telling you to use it in all these different ways. They may not be in the same nutritional situation we are in, so therefore we're not listening to them. So we're going to use MCT oil in 3 different ways. If you're cooking in a pot and a pan and you need some oil, you can use MCT oil. If you're cooking a recipe that calls for oil, one of our approved recipes, you can use MCT oil, and you can make salad dressings with MCT oil. What you're not going to do is you're not going to take it as a supplement. You're not going to make bulletproof coffee with it, and you're not going to randomly put it in shakes, okay? These drinks are not, they're pre-digested drinks. There's nothing to slow this down. This is still a fat, but it's a good fat, okay? But it's still a fat. You still don't want to put it in a pre-digested drink where there's nothing to slow it down. So 3 ways that we use MCT oil: cooking, recipes, and salad dressings. That's how we're going to use it. But when you are buying MCT oil, you need to flip over the back of the bottle, and in the ingredients label, it needs to say 100% medium chain triglycerides. If you flip that over and it says medium chain triglycerides from coconut oil, don't buy that one, okay? Because they may be trying to do something a little shifty on there. It needs to say 100% medium chain triglycerides, okay? I also want to tell you that MCT oil burns up quickly. What that means to you is that you need to cook on low to medium heat. Otherwise, it will set off your smoke detector, and we do not want that to happen, okay? So cook on low to medium heat, and just the fact that I have to tell you that tells you that it burns up quickly, because it's going to burn up quickly. All right, our second choice would be coconut oil. It is 60% MCTs. The third choice would be ghee butter, which is GHEE butter. It's a clarified butter. That's 40% MCTs. You can also use hemp oil. I don't know much about that one. And then 0-calorie cooking spray. Now, let me just tell you how I use these. When I am cooking a lean protein or possibly a fibrous carb, I use MCT oil. But when I am cooking a protein plus fat, which already has good healthy fats in it, I use 0-calorie cooking spray. So let's just do a real simple example. If I'm cooking egg whites, which don't have any fat in them, I could use a little bit of medium chain triglyceride. I probably wouldn't go up to that full tablespoon in egg whites, because it'll drown them, just enough to cook it in your pan. But if I'm cooking whole eggs, already has good quality natural fats in it, I'm not going to use MCT oil and add more fat to that. I'm going to use 0-calorie cooking spray for that. So that's how I do that. I had a really great question one night that was, well, why would I ever choose to use medium chain triglycerides, which have calories in them, versus a 0-calorie cooking spray? Well, here's why. MCT oil has a muscle preserving effect, and that is absolutely one of the most important things that we can do when we are trying to access and burn stored fat. We don't want to lose muscle. We want to keep our muscle while accessing stored fat. And so medium chain triglyceride has a muscle preserving effect. It also has a metabolism building effect. So what that means to you is it's thermogenic, so it helps heat up while it's digesting and in your body, and so it'll burn a few extra calories. But even with that, don't take it as that you need a supplement of it. You don't. If you're cooking, let's just say chicken and broccoli, then you could use MCT oil with that, and it would add a little bit of jet fuel to what we consider. See, we consider chicken and broccoli exercise on a plate, because it requires so many calorie burn to burn the food, to digest the protein and digest the fiber, as was in that food you ate. So it's basically a negative calorie meal already, because digestion expends the calories that you ingested. The medium chain triglycerides, like adding a little jet fuel to that, and you'll burn a few extra calories. But really, we don't take it as a supplement or other things. And we'll hit this cooking oils again tomorrow, because I realize that people need to hear things multiple times to understand. All right, so I mentioned briefly earlier the 3 letters EFB. EFB stands for efficient fat burning. You want to be in efficient fat burning as often as possible. And so we are striving for perfect days, but planned or unplanned, a holiday is coming. We are living life. A holiday is coming. Thanksgiving's coming up, and Christmas is coming up. New Year's Day is coming up. Those are holidays. Birthdays come along, anniversaries come along, things come along. Okay, so planned or unplanned, a holiday is coming. This is what is so beautiful about Shibboleth. You don't have to let holiday roll into holiday that rolls into holiday that rolls into holiday anymore. You can enjoy that holiday for its celebratory, fun purpose that it was, but then the very next day you get right back to living according to the Shibboleth shield. This will protect you. We call that Shibboleth shield the bulletproof shield. And if you are filtering your daily decisions through that shield and making sure that you pull that shield right back out after a holiday, then you are going to have great success in achieving your goals and then maintaining your success. But always keep in mind that after a holiday, it takes those 2 perfect Shibboleth days to get back into efficient fat burning, where we're accessing stored energy and burning that off. What is happening during those 2 perfect days is this: your body, all that insulin that was brought on a holiday, is dissipating and going away. So it's not going to be bugging you anymore. It's going to be dissipating. Also, any glycogen, which is sugar, any glycogen stores that came during those 2 days, that's being used up as energy and going away too. So on your 3rd perfect day after a holiday, you are back in EFB. And then you just string as many efficient fat burning days together as you can. And then guess what? Planned or unplanned, a holiday is coming. Enjoy it. Don't ever call it a cheat day. We're not cheating. We're living a life that's a beautiful, lovely, balanced life. My life wasn't balanced before. Now it's balanced. So we get right back to it. And then you do it again. It's a cycle. It's the cycle of life. We're going to be living it. So when we are in EFB, our body is going to be accessing stored energy. See, every single moment we need energy to live. But our body, just like most humans, are going to access take the path of least resistance. If our body has easily accessible energy in it, unapproved oils or starchy or sugary carbs, our body is going to be burning that first rather than having to access stored energy. See, stored energy is a little bit harder to get to, which is, you know what stored energy is? It's those calories that we overate that didn't get burned off, but it got stored, and we just had that happen day after day, and then we just got to get to it now. So we access that by being an EFB, okay? So I hope that makes sense, because I'm a big fan of EFB. Okay, what is the fat bus? This is a little recap. The fat bus is insulin. Insulin is a hormone. It is a growth hormone that helps to regulate blood sugar, but we call it the fat bus because it gets distracted and goes around and picks up all that fat if you've eaten it at the same time as fat, or insulin is in your body and you eat fat a little bit later, okay? After an insulin release, fat storage will occur for up to 48 hours, meaning you're out of EFB. Hence, 2 days to get back into efficient fat burning after you've had a holiday. Look at this point number 3. Insulin also increases your appetite. So I want you to know, how many of you have ever had a holiday, or even if you haven't living the lifestyle you were eating before, you eat some ice cream. Well, then all of a sudden you want something salty. Well, after you've eaten something salty, you want something sour. After that, you want something sweet again. Your body's going nuts because it's got insulin out there. Insulin increases your appetite. So if you've ever experienced that, that's because that insulin is just increasing your appetite. Yep, Sharon knows exactly what I'm talking about. So keep in mind that if you start experiencing that, if you can train yourself to say, ooh, I don't want to do that. I don't want to do that. That's that insulin. I don't really need it. I don't really want it. That's that insulin. But one reason I make a big point of this is because on your perfect day after a holiday, if you're feeling slightly hungry, you just have to tell yourself, you got to train yourself, oh, that's that insulin. In 2 days, all that'll be gone. I'll be back to my EFB. Because if you're watching on Facebook or even on the Zoom room, if you know how when you get into EFB, you're not even thinking about it anymore. Give me some witness to that, because we don't even think about it hardly. But after a holiday, you might feel a little hungry the next day just because the insulin is increasing your appetite. And then just as a recap, the fat bus, after the fat bus has been on its rounds, it takes 2 perfect days to get back into EFB. Now you might be thinking, what am I going to eat this week? I'm going to show you this little worksheet in just a second, but I really want you to customize this for yourself. It's very important. Do you know how many people ask us for meal plans? They ask us for meal plans. We can give you a meal plan, but I'm going to tell you, it's better to generate your own, because you may not like what we eat. And for example, Travis loves shellfish. I don't eat shellfish. So I would not want Travis's meal plan. I would not want it. So this is why it's important to author your own meal plan. So really simple, just to kind of get you started. If you can look at the link in the food library, you're going to come up with 7 lean proteins that you like. Come up with 7 fibrous carbs that you like. And just like if you were in elementary school and somebody said you match things from this column to this column that you might want to eat together, you say, I'm going to eat chicken breast and broccoli. And I will use more examples tomorrow night. I'm going to eat 96% lean ground beef, and I'm going to have some green beans. You literally just draw a line and match some up and just eat it. Okay. If you add MCT oil to it, it'll be the fastest fat burning meal. Throw in some meal replacements for simplicity, because not all of us are going to cook breakfast, lunch, and dinner every single day. You might cook one of those meals a day, but you got to figure out what to do for those other meals. You also want to, if you like sandwiches or wraps, we need to come up with what might work for that for you. And then just keep it simple. Oh, good. Thank you, Renee. Keep it simple in the beginning, really simple, and then just branch out as you continue the lifestyle. I'm going to go over one more slide, and then I'm going to go to that worksheet. So it did not cost very much for you to get in Shibboleth, and I love that, because this is accessible to everybody, okay? But the value that you are going to receive is going to be immeasurable. You're going to be blown away. I'm not kidding you. I have been. So if you are a Facebook user, please make sure that you are in our Facebook support groups. They are listed in emails that you receive. They're listed in the support on the website. I've got them listed in the Shibboleth New Member Fast Track group. So get in there, because members are so great at supporting members in this lifestyle, okay? And you always want to stay close to your community, because as soon as you start pulling away from the community, you start slipping. So we got to stay close. You want to familiarize yourself with our awesome website. I love to teach the website. And what's going to happen is tonight we have part 1, live webinar. Tomorrow night, part 2, live webinar. There aren't any more live webinars this week. What's going to happen is a post is going to come out in the Shibboleth New Member Fast Track group every morning at 5:30 Eastern Standard Time. So hopefully when you wake up, that post will be out, and if you're an early bird, you can get started on it. It is what I like to call an assignment post. You need to work through those things in that post and watch that video that's there, because that video is me showing you how to use the website and to do all the things that are in that post, because I'm hoping to help you shorten your learning curve on learning our website. The website is phenomenal. Okay, but I want to help you shorten that. And then I want you to make a getting started mentor appointment. Mentor appointments as a member of Shibboleth are complimentary to you. Complimentary. Absolutely amazing. I want you to make your mentor appointment, though, your getting started one, for next week. The reason I say that is this week, I want you to focus on Fast Track. I don't want you to spend time talking to a mentor this week unless you just absolutely can't figure out what to eat. Okay, that would be important. Go ahead and do it. But the reason I say that is because y'all want to be able to have an intelligent conversation. And if you've already been through this and you're getting a good gist of it, y'all's conversation next week is going to be much, much better. But after you have a getting started mentor appointment, book one for a meal planning appointment, or book as many as you need. In fact, there's other kinds. There's website walkthroughs, there's May days if you're in trouble. So you got all kinds of mentor appointments that you can book complimentary to you at any time. All right. And just make sure that you're focusing in on that fast track each day. Please comment on the posts. That's way we get to know each other by your comments, and it helps us know that you are participating in it. And I also want to say that Facebook doesn't always tell us when we have a notification. So what I need you to do is just make sure that you know you're participating in the Shibboleth New Member Fast Track group this week, and go in each day and find the post. So this one's day 1. Tomorrow will be day 2. And there'll be 2 posts for day 2 because tomorrow morning's and then the live webinar tomorrow night. But then there's a post each day, day 3, day 4, and so forth, all the way through day 7. Then on day 7, I help you guys just kind of wrap it up and remind you that if you need to get caught up, and I'll do a little live video about that. So welcome to the Shibboleth family. We are here for you. You are going to have great success. You're absolutely going to love this. I know I have, and it's so much fun. So let me share my screen one more time. I had to get off of that to go onto the internet. And I'm going to show how many tabs I've got up. I've got 5,000 tabs up because my mind is always like that. Okay, so what I've done is I've gone into, I'm into the Shibboleth website. Right here, where it says videos and print material, this yellow tab, you need to click there. And y'all can write the instructions down. Okay, once you click there, see where these topics are. Now, if you're on a phone, these black topics aren't listed out until you press the word topics, and then they'll pop down. Okay, but on your computer, you see it here. You want to go to Fast Track 1 hour lesson. You click there. And this is tonight's video. Well, the one I did last week. I'll upload this one into there tonight. And then this is tomorrow night's video. So if you want to go ahead and get ahead, you can watch it tomorrow. But I still like for you to participate live. I feel like you can ask questions. And tomorrow night's a real big question asking webinar. So you can click on either one of those. I'll just click there. And see, new member fast track worksheet. So anytime you have a video on our website, scroll down. If there is a blue box, there's materials that can go along with. Those are materials for you to learn with or use. But let's click on fast track worksheet. So this worksheet looks like this, okay? If you are going to print this, do it in black and white. It won't print all that color, okay? But I like pretty things, so it's in color. So print it in black and white. But you don't even have to print this to use it. You could just pull this up on your phone and use a separate sheet of paper to create these columns and everything. In fact, you might need more space than what's here. So this is a great worksheet. So what I want you to do is I want you to, hold on, I got to chat. I got to see who's chatting. Where is it? Okay, what I want you to do is I want you to write down what your favorite lean proteins are, what your favorite fibrous carbs, your favorite energy carbs, and so forth, okay? So that's your first task, is to figure out the foods, your favorites in those categories. And then right down here, we're gonna start building some lean protein and fibrous carb meals. And then right over here, we're gonna build some different type of meals. And then right here, we're gonna have a look in the food library for freebies, for extras, for snacks, and for meal replacements. And in fact, I am working on that. Oh, also, if y'all don't mind, if you have never liked the Shibboleth public Facebook page, like that on Facebook, okay? Because I go live there every morning, Monday through Friday, as a little focus for the day, morning motivation, daily devotion, and we learn a lot, and it does help us stay honed in and dialed in to what we're doing. But we've been completing this on the, we call it the Shibby Show. We've been completing this. We're going to do shellfish tomorrow morning, and then we're going to start making some meals. Okay, so make sure that you like that. But if you use this, do y'all like this? Okay, Sharon, where do I find the food types for the categories? So if you are a new member, if you're a new member, your dashboard is going to look different than an experienced member. Okay, so I'm going to click on dashboard, and I'm going to take you, your dashboard is going to look different than mine, but you will see this link. See right here where it says food library? Click there. Yours is all going to be under the heading of new member launch dashboard. Okay, so it'll be right there. You're going to click on that. This is a new member food library. See, our big food library has well over 6,000 items in it. And so what we do is we just give you a smaller one to get started with. First of all, look at this. See that word print? You can print this whole thing. If you print this, I'm going to show you what it looks like because I want you to see it. I wouldn't print this first page because that's showing up on there, so I would just print page 2 through 11, or maybe even see what is printing on those other pages. You can print this out, then you can do checks, just little checks of all the ones that you like, okay? So that'd be a great way to find the foods for those categories. Does that help? Awesome. Okay, so that's one way. So then what you're doing is if you go through here, you can then write it on that little worksheet. And in that worksheet, you can start building those meals on that worksheet. And then that worksheet also had meal replacements. So, and it also had freebies, extras, and snacks. So look what's right here. So you can just start coming through here. And if you see some things that you like, write them down. If you don't like it, don't write it down. Because there's so many options. There's so many options that you won't have to worry about that. Okay, so when you're looking at this, if you want to read a little bit more about an item, let's say that we go to this 96 to 99% lean ground beef. It takes you directly to the item in the food library. This right here, see where it says -3? That means it's excellent on the weight loss meter. So we have something called a weight loss meter. We're going to talk more about that later in this week, but it goes from a -3 to a +3. Your negative numbers are better for weight loss. Your positive numbers aren't going to hurt you if you do them every so often, but those are the ones that you just want to watch out for, or maybe you hold for a special day, but you just wouldn't want to do those very often. And 0 is not going to help you, not going to hurt you. And then we give you what a portion amount might be, and then we give you a description. And then if there are any recipes that go along with that food item, look at there. Oh my goodness, look at that. There's 2 pages of recipes right there of foods that you can use. So this is, y'all, this lifestyle and these resources are absolutely phenomenal, phenomenal. So I hope that you've enjoyed tonight. I hope that you've completely understood that you need to come back tomorrow night because that is ultra important, okay? And if you need to get in, yay, Renee, I'm excited too. If you need to get into the Shibboleth New Member Fast Track group, I'm headed over there right now to let people in. And you just search for Shibboleth New Member. As soon as you type that in, it'll pop up, and then join. All right, I hope to see y'all on the morning at the Shibby Show, and we'll see you tomorrow night on the webinar. Bye, everybody.